What do you do if you're struggling to grow traffic and membership sales? One answer is to leverage the audiences that other websites have built. Gem Society does this extremely well. Over the course of the last decade, Lisa Rosen has purchased a number of adjacent websites and coordinated marketing between them to increase overall sales. But you do not need to own multiple websites to leverage her strategies. In this interview, I'm going to walk you through the strategies and tactics that Gem Society uses and how you can employ the same for your own business to boost sales. Lisa, great to talk to you.
Likewise, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So we have the main write-up on membersherpa.com. What I wanted to do today is dive a little bit deeper into your business and kind of dissect some of the strategies and tactics that you've used because I think that would provide people with a lot of value. But first of all, why don't you give people just a general overview of your business?
Yeah, sure. So, bit of an interesting situation. We actually have a few different membership businesses. And so the first one is called the International Gem Society. It is one of the oldest and largest online gemological resources. We acquired the business. We didn't start it. We acquired it from the founder in 2013. He was looking to retire, and we were one of his members. And so we raised our hand and said that we would take over the business. And he said that's fine on the condition that we continued his mission, which was making gemology accessible and affordable. Which we have done since 2013. 3 years after we acquired the International Gem Society, the founder of another website, this one in metalsmithing, which is related to gemology, a lot of bench jewelers. He called us up. He was, I believe he was a French-Israeli guy living in Thailand. And he said that he wanted to essentially retire from the website. He wanted to open up a Thai cooking school. So he saw what we did with the International Gem Society and was wondering if we would take over his business as well. So we acquired that one in 2016. And we just last year acquired a third membership business. It actually wasn't a membership business originally, but we're running the same membership playbook on it. We're sort of pivoting the business model to turn it into a membership business because we think it's better suited for that.
Okay, what was the business model previously?
That's Maker Marketplace. It's
Okay.
maker-marketplace.com. The business model, it basically, it was the Maker Marketplace of custom-made.com. So Custom Made was originally a higher end Etsy. So really high end makers are on the platform. If you're looking for anything custom from furniture to clothing, you could find them on custommade.com. But Custom Made doesn't do that anymore. They're just in the jewelry vertical. So they were looking to offload their marketplace. So because Etsy is the only platform of that kind that's been able to succeed with that model, and we can go into that, we decided that we were going to attach a different business model, a membership business model, to an Etsy-like platform. And I'm happy to talk further about that. So we have three. We have three membership websites.
Yeah, that's quite a handful.
Yes.
There's quite a bit of overlap between the three of them. You have, your
Mm-hmm.
gem business, your metalsmithing, and then you also have your marketplace or custom made
Yes.
website.
Yep.
How are you doing cross promotions between them? Because there's a lot of cross sale opportunity between the three.
Yes. Absolutely. And that was part of the attractiveness of it. It's what attracted us to the subsequent websites after the International Gem Society. So we cross promote on International Gem Society and Ganoskin quite a bit. We do email marketing is a big channel for us. So we'll often run, monthly flash sales that we do on IGS and also on Ganoskin. We do monthly member gem giveaways. So we'll give away a gemstone of the month to a lucky member. Oftentimes we'll track like whatever the monthly birthstone is. Last month was April. We gave away a diamond. So that's, people love those. We haven't quite cross sold or cross promoted with Maker Marketplace yet. And that's because Maker Marketplace is still so nascent. We are about to ramp up sales. There were a couple of foundational things we need to complete before we really jump into sales. We want to lean into local SEO and things like that to try to boost the traffic on that site. But we're about 6 or 7 months in, and so now we need to focus on sales, and so cross promotion will be part of that.
Have you tried packaging up memberships on the sales page so people can choose between, just the Gem Society or Gem Society and the metalsmithing site?
So we don't do it that way. We found that the most likely crossover is a metalsmith on Ganoskin. That's the name of the website. We didn't name it. I think it means golden flower in Thai. So we kept the name. But on Ganoskin, you're more likely to have a metalsmith who's very interested in gemology rather than someone whose hobby is gemology looking for to be a metalsmith. So on Ganoxin, our platinum membership comes with a discounted, I think it's a discounted IGS Pro membership. So that's it runs from Ganoxin to IGS, though we will sell discounted, like when we have a flash sale, we'll discount Ganoxin memberships on IGS, but that's not as popular as the other direction.
So what's worked particularly well for you as a cross promotional or cross sale strategy?
Basically, just offering discounts. Really talking about like, hey, for the next 3 days, you've got 20% off this IGS membership. Um, and then for one day of the 3 days, we'll have Ganoxin memberships included. So, sort of creating that sense of urgency around you've got 24 hours to really take advantage of this. And we actually don't run those every month, the cross promotion every month. It's really more like 2 or 3 times a year. So that really kind of creates that sense of urgency.
Interesting. Now, I assume that, with all membership businesses and your businesses as well, there's probably a big email newsletter aspect to it. Have you found that doing joint opt-ins or anything like that has worked for you?
We don't do joint opt-ins because with your membership, you get automatically added to the newsletter circulation list.
Okay.
And we do talk about the other websites every once in a while. Actually, I should mention, I forgot this. We did test co-registration ads to cross promote, and those work pretty well as well. So if you buy an IGS membership and you check out, you'll get served a page where it's like, for the next 30 minutes, you can take 20% off a Ganoxin membership, or, something like that. So those work pretty well too as cross promotional. And then, but in terms of your question about opt-ins, because you're subscribed to the newsletter with every membership, we haven't really done sort of the double opt-in type thing.
Now, in the write-up, you mentioned that you were a low seven-figure business. What's the revenue breakdown? So, obviously you have the membership side of things. Do you do conventions? Do you do also product sales within those businesses? How does the revenue kind of break down there?
Yeah, so we have a few different revenue streams. So it's basically like it's probably 60 to 70% membership revenue. And so Maker Marketplace, our only revenue stream right now is membership. But on IGS and Ganoxin, it's much more diversified. So it's probably 60 to 70% membership revenue, probably 20% affiliate revenue. I would say 70% membership revenue, 15% affiliate revenue, 15% digital advertising revenue. So that's pretty much the breakdown.
So you're running ads basically on your website or through your newsletter?
We run Mediavine, so digital ads on the site, which was very controversial when we rolled it out because we sort of held out for a really long time. But during COVID, our traffic went like through the roof. And so it was just too hard to ignore that. Um, and it allows us to pay our writers fairly, which I think our members really appreciate. So we don't source copywriters, for $10 an hour. Like we try to pay subject matter experts, fairly. So, and that's very expensive. The content is very expensive to generate. So adding the digital ads really allowed us to keep doing that. Um, so it's there are some ads in our newsletter. They're affiliate ads. They do okay. That's not like a huge revenue generator. It's more like traffic to affiliate pages.
And so kind of the breakdown is the same for Gem Society, would you say?
So I would say for both businesses, yeah, I would say for both IGS and Ganoxin, it's like 70% membership, 15% affiliate, 15% digital ads.
So I know that, for people that are about to introduce ads onto their site and they already have a membership site, a big worry can be how the members will accept that
Mm-hmm.
because, they're paying for this and then they have to look at ads as well, or they're getting affiliate offers as well. So it's like they might feel that you're trying to monetize them a little bit too
Yep.
much.
Mm-hmm.
How did your members cope with adding ads or affiliate links?
A few of them were very angry and they left. And you get an email that's in all caps, yelling at you. But what I try to do is just explain to them why we do that. I mean, first of all, we haven't raised our membership fees in like 8 years. So, in the US, we have inflation, and cost of living is going up for our writers, but we understand that our members are often on a fixed income, and this is really a nice to have expense for them. It's not a must have. And so we're going to try to keep for a long time our membership fees as steady as we can, and try to fight back against the urge to kind of raise those rates. And so the digital ads, really help us do that. So I try to explain that to members and say, listen, like I know they're annoying. They're annoying for me too. You can just click X and get rid of them. But here's what they allow us to do. And so there are people who are very receptive to that and very grateful that I take the time to explain that to them. I try to be as honest as and transparent with our members as I can be, because it's the truth. That's what's happening. But there are definitely people who got angry and sent me the all caps email and canceled their membership.
So I guess on the whole, it was not that disruptive for you.
No, I think it's like I can count on one hand the number of people who sent me a nasty email. You're always disappointed to get those emails, but at the end of the day, you know, it is helpful to top line to have those there.
Right. And then I guess also for members, you can just have it so anybody who's logged in, the website won't show advertisements to.
You
I
can do that.
assume, pardon me?
You can do that. We
Right.
show the ads to our members.
Okay.
We've talked about turning them off for we basically were going to wait and see what the membership response was before we decided we started with them on with the idea that we could always turn them off. And as I said, it was a handful of members who got really pissed off and left. And most people, when you explain it to them and say, here's why we're doing this, here's how you can get rid of them, they understand.
Right. Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I assume that probably the bulk of your website traffic is non-members.
Hmm.
So if you were to go that route, you probably wouldn't lose a lot of advertising revenue if it did turn out to be a big problem. But it doesn't sound like it is a big problem for you. On the on the churn side of things, what have you put in place, or what have you found to be very effective for controlling churn?
Well, we have some automated email flows. So we were finding that people were churning because they weren't logging in. They were forgetting that they had the membership, and so if you haven't logged in for 30 days, we'll send you an email like, "Hey, um, we're here. Don't forget about us. Like, we see you haven't logged in. Here's all the exciting content that we rolled out, since you last logged in." And then if they don't log in again, if they sort of ignore that email, then depending on the type of membership they have, they'll get an email with an offer. So I just had a woman actually take advantage of it. We have these mini courses, like you could do a deep dive on. I think we have like 18 different gems that we cover, and every quarter we try to roll out a few more. So one of our most popular is investing in gems for profit, and Ruby. And so, depending on the type of membership that you have, we may send you like a free mini course. Like, hey, don't forget about us. Like, we see you haven't logged in a really long time, so we're going to give you a free gift to come back, like to make sure that they're logging in. So
Right.
they remember, we're here, we're really great, we're always investing in new, awesome, fun, engaging content, and we want to keep you engaged. So that has actually been pretty effective.
Interesting. And I guess, if you're not raising prices for membership, constantly reminding them that the cost of living is going up and you're not, raising prices on them would also be an effective way to kind of retain membership. I run three different membership websites like you. It's a handful,
Yeah,
let me tell you.
never a
Um,
dull moment.
right. And I've committed to not raise memberships for the existing members.
Right.
But I do on occasion raise the cost of membership for new members. So anybody who's signing up will have to sign up at a little bit pricier cost or membership dues. And if I reinforce this message to members, then they realize, okay, well, if I want to get back in later, it's going to cost me more. So I might
Mhm.
as well save my continue my membership.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have done stuff like that in the past. We've been fighting back a raise on our membership fees for new members recently, given the inflationary forces in the U.S. So. I'm hoping we can continue to resist it, but there may come a day where, right, for new members, we would have to raise the cost, and for existing members, they could keep their their plan, for the duration of their membership.
Right. So how did you know how to price membership and what to put in a membership package?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when we originally acquired the International Gem Society in 2013, uh, the price was very, very low. And I wasn't working on it full time at that point. I am a retired environmental lawyer. I was working for an international nonprofit focused on climate change, and this was kind of my husband's gig. And so I think, he kind of just set the price fairly low when we first acquired it from the founder, who didn't have a membership fee. And is my understanding and my recollection. And then, over time, we just kind of, as we were increasing the value that we were delivering, I think we sort of increased fees over time. So we've kind of landed on the current offering through trial and error, and really understanding the value, that we're delivering for the members.
Right. And at some point, I guess you hit that wall where people don't really want to sign up anymore at that price point, and then you back off a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know that we ever hit that wall. I actually think that we could increase fees. We just have a massive, massive library of content. We also have
Hmm.
a forum that's very active. We have courses that people love to take. Depending on your membership, you get them half off or you can get them for free. Um, and every once in a while, we'll roll out, discounts from partners and things like that. We have our monthly gem giveaways for members. So I actually think we probably could raise the cost, but I'm just so conscious of the financial pressure that people are our member demographic is under right now, that I
Hmm.
try to have a lot of empathy for that. And um I think it's a volume business, right? So um I'd rather have more members at the current rate than, I haven't totally run the numbers on what we would increase the fee to if we were to increase rates.
Hmm.
Because I'm pretty committed to trying to hold them steady for now when there's a lot of the macroeconomic outlook is not that bright.
Yeah, not great, to say the least. So you mentioned a lot of things that are part of the membership. How do you know what to place into the membership that members may value?
You got to talk to your members. You have to understand why they're joining, what problem you're solving for them, and what do they want to see more of. So once a year, we send out a member survey. How are we doing? What features do you like the best? What features would you like to see? Here are some ideas that we have. What do you think of that? So, for example, um, we had because our members tend to skew a little bit older, so a lot of them are grandparents, and we had a few people. I had this idea about a gem junior program, like gemology for kids, and I sort of road tested it through a member survey, and I got great feedback. Like, people were really excited about the idea of gemology for kids. They want to do it with their grandkids. And it took me a while to design the product and come up with the actual offering. And I kept getting emails from these remember, like, where is this? Like, I want to buy this tomorrow. And why aren't you offering this in Canada? Why are you only offering it to US members? Like, that's not fair. So you have to really talk to your members and understand what problem you're solving. Why are they with you? Why do they stay? At the same time, it's sort of a similar vein. You have to understand why they leave, right? Like, we have a cancellation survey that people fill out. So if they cancel their membership, we ask them why. And that is also really instructive on, okay, here's where maybe we're falling down. Here's some content that we need to buttress or supplement or change because people they don't love it, or improve. So I think getting that constant feedback from your members is absolutely critical to building this type of business.
So I know that when I launched our most recent site, I sent out a giant questionnaire survey to our existing members on netnethunter.com. And I just asked them, who's interested in special situations and what are your major challenges when it comes to special situations if you're a special situation investor. I got all the feedback, all the insights, and then I packaged up the membership basically based on that. And a lot of people who said they wouldn't buy initially ended up buying, I guess, because they saw the package as, I guess, so useful in solving whatever problem they had with special situations. So, yeah, that's definitely effective if you can get feedback from memberships or from your members. You're in a good situation right now. It's unfortunate for consumers, but the US is going through a period of inflation, and I would argue that a lot of other countries are as well. But during those periods, you tend to get more demand for investment in things like gold and gems. So, have you actually found a way to capitalize on that? I know that you've talked about Google being less reliable. Have you found a different way to access your target customers?
It's actually something we're struggling with right now. Uh, I mean, I think there's a lot of news coming out of DC that has consequences for the gemstone market. So I've been trying to write news articles, and we have really great domain authority. So I wrote an article on the Trump tariffs and the impacts on the gemstone market, and that article went to number one. Um, pretty quickly. We were outranking CNBC, which was awesome. Um, but how many people are searching for that? So it's the issue is the website is pretty niche. All the I mean IGS and Ganoxin are very very niche, and so that has always been a struggle for us. Like social media marketing is always very challenging because we can't spend a lot to acquire a customer, even though the lifetime value is really great. It's such a niche product that acquiring new customers has just been a challenge since the beginning. So, one way that we're going to try to open up the addressable market is through e-commerce and this GEM Junior program, right? So the GEM Junior program is going to be an online course, which kind of fits within the IGS core business model, but it's also going to be a subscription box for kids. So they get a polished gemstone, a rough gemstone, a real gemology tool, and a puzzle book. And if they complete all of the puzzles, it'll reveal the identity of their gem. And along the way, they learn all about the gem and they can use the tool. We'll teach them how to test, like run the various tests. So our tagline is kids study gems like a real gemologist. And so the idea is that there's going to be a lot more parents and grandparents who are looking for unique gifts for their kids and their grandkids, or maybe a friend for a birthday party. And they'll be excited about this, which will then open up the world of gemology for the kids and hopefully the parents who might be interested in this and say, hey, maybe we should get a membership at IGS, right? Or the kid loves the box so much that, and they do the online course and then they age out of the kid program and they join IGS as an adult. So it's sort of cultivating the next generation of gemologists and folks who are really excited about gems. And that's how we hope to sort of open up the addressable market for the IGS membership. And then we could do something similar on Ganoxin as well.
Smart, because kids, they love finding little gems and they might think it's gold or something like that.
Mhm.
And they're
They
in
think
love with
everything's
science.
expensive if it
Right.
sparkles. I mean, I see that with my kids. We took them gem digging in Maine. We live in New England, so we went to Maine, and you can dig for Maine tourmaline, and they were over the moon. And then I kind of looked around and I was like, oh, this is all young families. Like these are all like families with young kids who are here. There must be something to this. And so I've spent the last 6 months designing the product, and we're about to launch a Kickstarter, and it's very exciting. But I think content businesses and membership businesses are tough right now because
Mhm.
Google giveth and Google taketh away. And Google was our primary channel for acquiring new customers. And so, in the absence of Google, how do people find us? Like, what do they
Right.
do? So the challenge was we offer a really really niche product, a really niche membership, and how do we open up that addressable market? And I think it's through kids, and I think it's through e-commerce.
I think those are great ideas. Have you considered cross promotion for the newsletter? If somebody if I can speak, if somebody signs up for the newsletter for an adjacent business, they would have the option to sign up for your newsletter as well. Have you looked at anything like that?
So we're not quite that far yet, but yes, absolutely, I would do that. So, a long time ago, I knew the guy who started ThreadUp, which is a big sort of reseller platform for kids' clothes and other clothes. So, like, if you buy some kids' clothes on ThreadUp, maybe we could promote Gem Junior on there, and then you can sign up for the Gem Junior newsletter, which would then feed into the IGS newsletter. And yeah, you can kind of see how you could create this loop. So yeah, absolutely we would look at cross promoting for adjacent businesses. And the great thing about this is that now it's not just adjacent businesses like in the jewelry space, right? Like for IGS alone as a standalone business, like what is an adjacent business? It would be Ganoxin, like with metalsmiths, or it would be none of the large jewelry retailers would be interested in
Right.
this with us. Like it's just totally different. And GIA is the organization that certifies like diamonds and things like that. Or they grade and certify different gemstones. They wouldn't be interested in doing this with us, right? So you kind of need another offering in order to get the attention of the newsletters and other business other businesses that are adjacent that are interesting, and
Right.
also would be interested in you.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great channel, could be a great channel for us.
And you must have a massive YouTube channel because I mean everything is very visual. There's probably tons of aspects that you could discuss on it. What's your YouTube presence like?
We do have a YouTube channel. So we were very late to the YouTube party, actually, because it's quite hard to acquire the gemstones and film them, to have the quality footage that we would want for YouTube. I mean, JTV, which is like Jewelry TV, does a great job, but they have a massive inventory of gemstones. We don't have that. I mean, you need a massive budget, especially because a lot of these gems, I mean, they're very expensive, right? Like if I want to do a video on Pariba tourmaline is like one of it's the price has increased, orders of magnitude over the last few years. It's a very rare gemstone, much rarer than a diamond. To acquire a Pariba tourmaline to shoot it for a video is like tens of thousands of dollars, right? I could try to get it on memo, but then like if something happens to the gem while it's in my possession, like I'm liable. So
That's an
uh,
expensive video.
very expensive video. So it's actually more challenging than you would think. But we have partnered with gemologists who've done YouTube videos for us, who've done amazing work. We partnered with a guy named Jake Talvey Goodman, the concierge gemologist, who did great things, would put gems under the microscope and like tell us what we're looking at. Like, this is this type of inclusion, and here's how you can tell a synthetic diamond or a synthetic stone from a natural stone. So, those videos are amazing and they're really helpful. We have those on our YouTube channel, and we're about to lean into like, how do you buy a diamond? How do you buy an emerald? How do you buy a ruby? Like, what are the tips and tricks?
Hmm.
So we tested that how to buy a ruby video, and it did great. So we're still working on our YouTube. It's always a work in progress. But because we were so focused on written content, we were very late to the YouTube party. So we're
Yeah, it
still
makes
playing
sense.
catch up.
Better late than never though.
Better late than never.
um,
And now
right.
we're on TikTok, and I'm 40, 46 years old, so I'm old. So it's like, I'm like, do we need to be on the TikTok?
The TikTok,
My
right?
kids are like, the TikTok? It's not the TikTok. You're not cool.
You got to start doing some rap on there.
Listen, I'm a child of the 90s. I can rap.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can
It's all
rap.
gangster rap though, right?
I grew up in Miami. I've got the gangster rap covered. But the TikTok is like a whole nother can of worms.
So, how does a lawyer get involved in membership businesses? That's something that, it's not an obvious move to me. I know your husband was the entrepreneur, but it doesn't
Hmm.
seem like it's an obvious shift, going from environmental law to running a membership business.
Yeah, it's not an obvious shift. So, right. So I started my career as a big firm attorney. I was an environmental lawyer. 2009, I went in-house to an international NGO working on climate, which was like my dream job. I did that for 10 years and then worked my way up the food chain there. And then we spun off a for-profit. I was interim CEO of that. And then COVID hit.
Hmm.
And when COVID hit, I had two very young children at home. I mean, a first grader and a kindergartner. Oh, sorry, a preschooler. She was preschool. And it was a nightmare. I mean, trying to raise Series A financing from international investors. I had team members all over the world that I was managing. So I would get up, I'd work from like 5 a.m. to noon. Then I would take care of the kids from 12 to 6. And then,
Right.
after bedtime, I'd work some more. I would be on the phone with potential investors, and my son would run in and be like, "Where's my mac and cheese?" Because it was lunchtime and they had a, Zoom school, they had a lunch break, and it was really stressful. And so after COVID, and then after COVID, we had two family members pass away in a plane crash, which was tragic. and universe altering. And so at some point you have to say to yourself, like, something needs to change, right?
Hmm.
And so between the stress of personal matters and COVID, coming out of COVID, I was really fried. And so my husband said, why don't you take a step back from what you're doing? And because these membership businesses really grew during the pandemic because everyone was home, they needed something to do. So our membership rates like skyrocketed, our traffic skyrocketed. We had a huge COVID bump. And why don't you work on these for a while? You'll develop some different skills. You'll learn a lot about digital marketing. It's a much different environment. We have, 4 or 5 contractors that we work with, so it's a much smaller team than what I was used to. But it allowed me to be home, right? It sort of
Right.
was not high pressure. I don't have investors. I don't have a board. I don't have a team that I have to fly around the world to manage. And it was just allowed me to really take a step back. That being said, you fill the space. I mean, these businesses have been extraordinarily challenging. I think between learning digital marketing, I didn't know anything about SEO when we started. I didn't know anything about email marketing. I didn't know anything about running a membership business. What metrics do I track? How
Right.
do I stop people from leaving? Besides calling them up and begging them, like, please don't go. Um, and now dealing with the Google challenge, right? So we were flying high. We had amazing traffic, amazing domain authority. Google was good to us for a long time. And now, with the helpful content update, and it's not even the helpful content update. I mean, that hurt us a little bit, but we could have survived that like pretty well. It's really more AI overviews is really
Right.
hurting us, right? I mean, Google's kind of scraping our content and serving it up in AI overviews, and you get like a little tiny link, right, where they're like, here's where we got this information, but there's no need to really click on us and come visit us anymore if Google is just serving up the content in the AI overview answer.
And that's just going to continue as well. I know that for the newest site, for Event Driven Daily, we're primarily focused on writing articles. And in the back of my mind, I know that this is a big risk, the whole AI thing. I'm planning on pivoting into doing podcasts and more video content
Yeah.
with investors because I know that I can use that traffic that's going to our website and hopefully scale a really good YouTube channel that way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We are leaning more into YouTube. As I said, we're like continuing to grow the channel, but also this e-commerce, the Gem Junior program, I think
Hmm.
is a longer term investment, but could also, be the pathway for bumping our traffic back up and sort of just, businesses, legacy businesses, that inevitably there comes a day where they need to change, right? Like
Right.
this happens to Fortune 500 companies and it happens to small companies. Like what you were doing for the last 10 years, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for the next 10 years. And
Right.
so Google has had this massive paradigm shift, and we have to change along with it. Um, so I think, I look at it as an opportunity to reinvent the business. So, and that's challenging for me.
Lisa, it's been great talking to you. Thanks
Likewise.
for joining us, giving us your story, your insights, your strategies. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
It's clear that gem societies used on multiple websites have proven a valuable way for them to boost sales. So what can we learn? First, if you have multiple adjacent websites, you really should cross-sell. Lisa found that offering a paid cross-sale after initial purchase worked well for her. There are other ways to cross-sell though. You can offer a bundle on your sales page or email new members with a special offer. The key is to maximize the period in which your new customer is in a buying mood. If you don't have multiple websites, then the obvious workaround here is offering an affiliate program. This works very well if the cost of servicing a new signup is effectively nil. Then you can offer a large commission per sale and still ramp up your profit. Second, Lisa mentioned doing cross sales to her email list between 3 websites. She said that this worked well for them, so you can run sales promotions between lists. The sales that you're promoting obviously do not have to be yours, and this is again where affiliate marketing comes into play. Build a list of adjacent businesses that target the same sort of customers that you're interested in, and ask if they're interested in becoming an affiliate. Third, while Lisa's not taken advantage of this, partnering with other businesses to grow your email list can work exceptionally well. Here, the idea is to find adjacent sites in your industry that target the same sort of customers that you're interested in, and then getting them to offer your email newsletter as a one-click opt-in when they opt into that website's email list, and vice versa. So the target customer would opt into the adjacent business's email list and then receive a message to opt into your email newsletter as well. This is really a great way to grow your email list and get more people into your email sales funnel that may eventually buy from you, and you otherwise may not have been able to reach them. I've used most of these strategies when running or launching various membership websites in the past, and the boost to sales and revenue can be very meaningful. Now, I highly recommend reading our full interview with Lisa on membersherpa.com, where we cover a lot more of her business. Look for that link in the show notes. If you have a new membership or subscription business and are looking for ways to grow it, I also recommend watching my interview with Ernesto Ortiz, who is a master of search engine marketing. If launching and growing a podcast is more your thing, then definitely watch my interview with Omar Zenhom, who hosts one of the most successful podcasts in the US.